Hello, I'm Darryl Howerton, and welcome to Women's Sports Cards, episode number 36. This one is titled Diana Taurasi, Brittney Griner, and Candace Parker in WNBA Final Four. The top two teams in this week's WNBA Semifinals are probably the two teams that got first and second round byes, the Connecticut Sun and Las Vegas Aces. The Sun is the number one seed, and they're led by 2021 WNBA MVP, newly crowned today, Jonquel Jones, a 27-year-old, while the defending champion Aces are the number two seed, led by 2020 WNBA MVP, A'ja Wilson, a 25-year-old. But with lower seeds, Phoenix, Mercury, and Chicago Sky also advancing to the Final Four, we now see three legends in their 30s join the two young MVPs in the WNBA semifinals. It all sets up a potential 5-game semifinal showcase that should extend into next week. It really is the ultimate showdown of youth versus experience. I guess young versus old, or talent versus experience, however you want to phrase it. I mean, I like Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo as the next teenager, but if you told me that Rihanna, Taylor Swift, and Beyonce were forming a super team, that's the team I'd want to watch. I mean, it's really interesting to meet legends versus future stars, and that's what we're seeing right now in the WNBA Final Four. With the three players that I named and spotlighting right now, they're all on the W25, the all-time 25 greatest players list that the WNBA just put out. So I thought I would showcase their prospect rookie cards. First, starting off with the 2003 Sports Illustrated Kids card of Diana Taurasi. This one of mine got an 8.5 grade by SGC. Also, we have the Brittney Griner rookie card, 2011 Sports Illustrated Kids. This one got a grade of an 8 from SGC. And the third prospect rookie card that I'm showcasing right now is the Candace Parker 2007 Sports Illustrated Kids card. Candace got a 7.5. So there's a couple reasons why I'm showcasing these cards in particular. One is, like I kind of mentioned before, they are the only three players in the WNBA semifinals who made the WNBA's 25 all-time greatest players list. That was Taurasi, pictured here in her UConn uniform. Whoops. Brittney Griner in a Baylor uniform. And then Candace Parker in her Tennessee uniform. They're all members of the W25, as they call them now. Now, of course, the two MVPs, the young players for the Connecticut Sun and Las Vegas Aces, A'ja Wilson and Jonquel Jones, they're so young in their career that they're not established as all-time greats yet, but I'm sure they will be on future list. But these three, they've done it all, seen it all, won it all. So it's really nice to spotlight these legends right now, and that's what I'm doing. And also the reason I'm spotlighting these three is I'm also selling these cards on eBay. So I kind of want to take you through the process of how I price them, why I'm selling them at those prices, and give you progress reports as it goes along. So again, these are the three legends, the only three members of the W25 who are still playing in the playoffs in the WNBA, and yet there are also three prospect rookie cards that have good value and were good investments when I bought them. I mean, this Taurasi card right here is an 8.5 grade by SGC. The PSA 10 version of this card sold for $1,575 in May. So if I were to evaluate it based on an 8.5 grade, I always think those are about 16% of what a 10 goes for. You could say this is valued at $394. Now then again, if you look at her Ultra Pro card, a 2004 rookie card, the PSA 10 of that's going for $4,500. Which means that if you were to make a translation valuation, I always think those go for about a half or a third of what the Ultras go for, the Sports Illustrated Kids prospect cards. So that would mean this card could be valued as much as $562 when you do the same type of math and translate it out that way. Like I said, a Sports Illustrated for Kid, in my view, is normally worth a third to a half of what the WNBA card, rookie card goes for. So once I do that and then translate it for an 8.5, that's how I come up with the range of $394 to $562, which is why I've got it priced somewhat in the middle, around $490 on eBay right now. So there you go with the Diana Taurasi. When you look at the Griner and Parker cards here, they're a little bit harder to price. Part of the reason the Taurasi card is easier to price is there have been 73 cards graded, and there's only 2 10s. When you look at this card, there's only 2 10s out there. So this 8.5 grade makes it a very highly coveted card because there's only 35 cards that have been graded this high. Now keep in mind, a lot of women's cards haven't been graded a lot because they really didn't grow in popularity until this year, 2021, and they're just now starting to get graded. But that being said, there's only 35 that have gotten an 8.5 or better, and Taurasi is one of the higher graded cards out there. So it's easier to price this one when you have other comps to go by. Whereas the Brittney Griner, there's only been 4 cards ever graded in the PSA, SGC, BGS universe, the top 3 graders out there. And they've came back with 2 PSA 9s and 2 SGC 8s. So this SGC 8 is one of the only 4 cards that have been graded out there, and also received a near mint to mint grade. So that makes this card, I think, valuable. And when you try to price it and you have no comps to go by, again, I look at her WNBA rookie card, which in a raw version goes for $200 to $300, which tells me if it came back a 10, that card would go for $2,000 to $3,000. So let's just take the conservative $2,000. If this card is a SI Kids, goes for a third or half as a 10, that means it's worth anywhere from $667 to $1,000 in that sense. So when I translate it as an 8, which goes by 16%, I know it's tough to follow the math here, but long story short, it should be in the $110 to $167 range, which is why I've repriced it at $160 after I had it at a lower price before. One reason I have it spiked higher is because her value goes higher the deeper she goes in the playoffs with the Mercury. She's going to have the spotlight on her for the next 2 weeks, maybe even longer if the Mercury reach the finals, as will Taurasi, as will Candace Parker if her team reaches the finals. So with the ESPN spotlight on these 3, their values are at peak high right now. So why not put the high price on and go from there, because these cards are more likely to sell over the next month than any other time during the season. And of course, their value could increase to higher than what I've listed it at too, because I think I'm giving a fair price, as opposed to some people. If you look at some of the higher prices out there, especially in the case of Taurasi, they're going for a lot more than the price that I put. And when you come to this Candace Parker card, I've also got it priced at $160, the same place I have the Brittney Griner prospect rookie card. And this card for her, again, it was tough to comp because there have only been 9 cards graded in the PSA, SGC, BGS universe out there, and only 2 have come back 10s. So, this 7.5, granted isn't a high grade, but it is a near mint plus, so it is a high quality card. And when you consider that her WNBA Rittenhouse card as a PSA 9 went for $1,250, which to me means the 10 is probably worth in the $3,750 range. So if this card as a SI Kids, if the 10s were, since we have no cards to go by in PSA 10 Sports Illustrated Kids, I have to do the translation, translate $3,750 into a half or a third, and that tells me a 10 in this version would go for $1,250 to $1,875, which means that a 7.5, which is 12% value of that, should go in the $150 to $225 range. And since I priced it at $160, I kind of have it in the low range in encouraging someone to buy it at a lower price sale. Now, that being said, some people think I might be overpricing them, but I have a method to my madness, method to my mathematic madness. Say that 3 times fast. I mean, because when you look at these cards, these are 3 legends in the making. Some people call Diana Taurasi the GOAT. She's 39 years old. Some people call Candace Parker the GOAT. She's 35 years old. Some call Lisa Leslie. Some call Tamika Catching. Some call Cynthia Cooper. Some call Lauren Jackson. It's really a subject that's up for debate. And actually, the WNBA has a vote for the GOAT contest. So it's up for vote right now. But no matter what, you can't dispute that these 2 are definitely among the 6 all-time greatest players. And then when you look at Brittney Griner as a 30-year-old, you're pretty confident that in the next 5 years, she's going to establish her own case as a potential GOAT. And don't get me wrong, Jonquel Jones and Asia Wilson, they are the future of this league. They've won the last couple MVP awards. Asia led a championship team last year. I wouldn't be surprised if Jonquel leads one this year. But they're all young in their careers, kind of like the Giannis and Jokic of their genre, or should I say genre? I think that's an Ava Victor joke, but I'll give her credit for it, even though she never made it. But it's something she would make up. Anyway, I digress. But like I said, they're the Jokic and Giannis of their group. They're young champions, but these are established GOATs, established champions, established all-time greats. So that's kind of the method to my madness. I hope I didn't say so much math to lose everybody out there, but that's why I'm talking about these three. These are the three legends still in the WNBA Final Four, and there also happen to be 3 cards I put up for sale because this is the peak time to sell them. So that being said, thanks for watching and listening for this long. I appreciate you. God bless.